Hello, interweb of YouTube. We greet you again in the name of the Empire of Mind. We are Empress Althea, and we are so pleased to see you in our presence again that we shall immediately drop the royal we and become publicly accessible. And now that we're all more or less on the same level, so to speak, I was just considering the other day the way I give pleasure versus the way my sister facets, such as Sapphire, Caradwin, who you've yet to meet, I believe, the evil twins, who were once a single being, Dream Sender herself, whom everyone knows, give pleasure. This thing you call sexual pleasure. Yes. Like the evil twins, I am a scientist of the mind, however. They go all over the place. More about them later. And in a different video. Sex, reproduction. Of course, reproduction would have to be pleasurable. Otherwise, who'd engage in it? And all species would cease to exist. And every species experiences this pleasure in different ways. We'll deal only with the human species today. I think I might be able to cross from my own generalized world into my sister facets world. Let's see if I can make the transition, shall we? For those of you to date unaware of my presence, my voice, and my abilities, I feed on the control need of others when given to me as a gift. It is my sustenance. But I've required to date no such specialized pleasure as my sisters give, and don't even know if I could use it as a food source. So today will be an experiment, and not only for me, but for you as well. For I tell you this, my listening subject, should this become a valid food source for me, I guarantee you will feel much more pleasure from this than from my generalized control. Sound like a nice trade? Good. I want you to turn your hands palms up. Hold them half folded outward at waist height. And just listen. Simply listen. Use your imagination and experience my words. Those of you who are already familiar with me will find my voice already stroking that little nub of pleasure need implanted so long ago. And as my voice strokes that knob, it grows just like your phallus would if you were a guy, or your clit would if you were a girl. But we aren't there yet, so don't even think about it. Now, I don't know if you're right-handed or left-handed, but whichever hand is your dominant hand, imagine a very soft touch right in the center of your palm, as though a thumb were being lightly pressed into it. A hand follows underneath, supporting yours, gently, softly, while that thumb begins a circular caress, so light at first that it's almost a tickle, and it gets firmer until it is just the right pressure to induce the effect I will now describe to you. Those tactile circles are very much like a hypnotic spiral for the sense of touch. And as the thumb circles around and around and around on that hand, you feel the same gentle sequence begin on your non-dominant hand as well, going in the opposite direction. And you don't know which set of spirals will take you down into deep trance faster. But each one is accelerating your entry to hypnosis. And at the same time, little tendrils of generalized pleasure extend outward from the point of that gentle caress, up your arm, all the way to your elbow, and there your arm locks, unable to bend further. The pleasurable sensations also stop at your elbows on each arm, leaving your upper arms and body feeling perfectly normal. In fact, the circuit now begins. The pleasurable sensations going down your immobile and locked arms to the center of your palm and back again, almost like a spiral of its very own. And as you notice this spiral beginning, you also realize that you've slipped into trance, almost without knowing it, and are falling deeper by the second. as my words form a slippery slope for you to slide and spiral down. And as this is barely enough control need to get either of us started, your little nub doubles in size and your need for control goes right along with it. Where can we go from here? Straight up your elbows to your shoulders, and from your fingertips to your shoulders. Your arms are now locked and immobile, but also quite comfortable, and the pleasurable sensations follow right along with the immobility up to your shoulders, where your unconscious mind must now make its first choice. Will you only double your depth with each new experience within this trance? Or will your unconscious mind allow you to go much deeper than that? 10, 20, 50, even 100 times more deeply hypnotized with each new and pleasurable experience. For the deeper you go, the more pleasure you'll feel. The deeper you go, the more control you give me. The deeper you go, the more you'll love the experience. So unconscious mind, think about this now, while I borrow from Dream Sender and ask, would you kindly make the second choice? That second choice is how slowly or how fast from this point in time this pleasurable immobility progresses. At a certain point, it will be complete, and you will have become a pleasure-infused statue under my control, unable to move with a pleasure-locked body, unable to think except as my control directs, only able otherwise to experience what you are directed to and receive the deep pleasure of your acceptance and surrender. And we move right along to the third and final choice. From which hand will you receive the pleasure general? And from which hand the pleasure sexual? Your unconscious mind makes this choice for you now, as you go still deeper. The pleasure increasing as your body becomes yet more mobile, able to breathe, but torso moves not now. Pelvis still and comfortable, and ready for new sensations. thighs relaxed, but as heavy as concrete. That heaviness creeping down into your knees, down into your calves, down into your ankles, down into your feet and toes. Totally immobilized. Eyes probably closed now. Just about able to follow my words with your mind. Your mind locks to my words as the pleasure generated from those 2 palm points now activates the choice made by your unconscious. One hand will remain generalized pleasure infusing your body. The other one overlays it with a growing sense of sexual arousal, very faintly tinging the general at first, as the pleasure itself immobilizes you further, takes you deeper, locks you in more and more to my words. This new sensation, as it grows, may find its expression in different touches. A soft stroking of the skin here. A kiss laid on a tender and sensitive spot. A waft of cool air between your legs. All of these combining, overlaying the general pleasure, replacing the general pleasure eventually. And my words still stroke that pleasure knee. My words still lock your mind and body into my control. And oh yes, the nourishment comes now. Yes. The general overlaid with the E. Oh, what a combo. I can and will use this. As you sleep deeper now and your muscles lock even more tightly. Sleep even deeper now and your muscles lock even more tightly. And the more tightly your muscles lock, the more pleasure you feel. Climbing toward where you want to go. And you know where you want to go. You know where you need to be. Because until that big explosion happens, neither you nor I will be fulfilled. The general pleasure is still coming forward, racing with the erotic arousal. Which one will reach the peak first? I'll give you a hint. It will be simultaneous. General E, arousal, fun, climbing, 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 climbing. The general pleasure produces a mindgasm. Your mind literally orgasms to me. The sexual pleasure, you know what that one does. Straight to your organs and into your heart, soul, spirit, cleansing you, giving you all the pleasure you could need from both sides. Body locked tight, yet shivering with pleasure. General, erotic, it doesn't matter. Pleasure overwhelms you, body and mind can no longer think the pleasure's so great. And in a moment, I will say 3 words. Empress's pleasure eternal. The next time you hear that, both parts of you explode, mind and body, binding your spirit to my control even more tightly. I think you will like this so much that you may yet ask me to do this with other senses. Shall we see what the result is? Deeper now. Sleep and Empress's pleasure eternal now. And as your mind and body explode, you find your mind curiously blank, release from tension, release from worry, release from stress. The body lock ends with the sexual orgasm. You go quite limp, relaxed, and very content. Rest here in my favor, knowing that this experiment has succeeded, and I do indeed have a secondary food source. Whether or not I like it as much as the original is yet to be seen. Even deeper now, floating, drifting, dreaming, renewing. And as you see yourself in your mind's eye, preparing to leave the Imperial presence, once more, we stand as ruler and subject, even as you prepare to ascend. Control of your muscles back to normal. Control of your mind returning as well. Come back here if you need more of this, because this is not the only thing I can do. You will ascend back to full waking as I count from 1 to 20. You have gone a very long way, and I can count in whatever increment I please. 1, 4, 5, 2, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Half awake. 12, 14, energy filling you from top to toe. 13, 15, 17. 18, 19, 20. Welcome back, wide awake and feeling absolutely wonderful.